Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be. This is Marty Grunder with the Grow Group and Grunder Landscaping Company. Hey, we're all dealing with this coronavirus right now, and I have my buddy who is actually the golf coach at Wright State University, among some other things, Brian Arlinghaus. Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and then we're going to have a very nice conversation here about some things that I think are going to help some of my followers here dealing with this coronavirus. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate it. So yeah, like you said, I'm golf coach at Wright State, amongst other things, and my background is in sport and exercise psychology. So what I do with my team and with clients is we work a lot on visualization, on meditation, how to deal with stress, how to deal with anxiety, and most of what I do obviously is centered around the sports, golf, basketball, baseball, soccer, you name it. But I certainly think a lot of the stuff that I work with clients on a daily basis is extremely applicable right now to some of your followers and your small business owners.
So small business owners right now, Brian, we've had a lot of talk. You actually, in addition to being the golf coach, you also work for a small business.
I do.
Yep. I was talking with you and you made some, just really opened my eyes up. What we're trying to do here at the Grow Group is to show people that yes, this coronavirus is certainly a challenge. It's a challenge financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You could probably go on with a few more
Right.
adjectives like that. But what can entrepreneurs do right now to help them get through this?
Honestly, Marty, the biggest thing that they can do to help them is going to be the hardest thing for them to do, and that's just to slow down. Right now, there's problems are being thrown at us as small business owners and as executives and decision makers at a very, very rapid rate. And if you try to consume all of those problems and solve all of those problems on a regular scheduled basis, you're doomed, because none of them are going to get solved, or very little pieces of them are all going to get solved. So what I would recommend is that slow down part, and whether that be 10 minutes twice a day or 20 minutes once a day, some sort of stillness where they can sit down and learn to meditate or learn to visualize. And just like when you and I were talking earlier, most of our greatest ideas come when we're in the shower, right?
Right.
Because our mind is turned off. We're not thinking about our problems. We're not thinking about external worlds. And all of a sudden, boom, it clicks. If small business owners and if athletes in general can just learn to slow everything down, that's when the real breakthrough begins to happen. Because the problems don't become overwhelming, right? Well, what ends up happening, just like with athletes, is some of these small business owners who have tremendous pressures on them right now are going to continue to try to solve these problems with the result staring them in the face. And that result of what's going to happen to my business, what's going to happen to my family, what's going to happen to my employee is going to dominate their awareness. And it's not going to allow them to use the parts of their brain that are going to be the solutions part, because they're going to be so focused on the results of it.
Yeah. So I remember years ago, I read a wonderful book by some sports psychologists called The Power of Full Engagement.
Yep.
And one of the premises from the book, they talked about an NFL lineman and how an NFL lineman has to exert every ounce of energy he has for between 3 and 8 seconds,
Yep.
block and push and all that. And then the play's dead. You come back to the huddle, you put your hands on your hips, you catch your breath, you think through things again, and you go for another play.
Right.
Sounds similar to what you're saying there. There's no way we can keep going at the pace we're going.
Yep.
There may be a tendency right now to want to work harder to try to dig yourself out of this hole. And what you're saying is slow it down, take some time for yourself,
Absolutely.
meditate, see what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you're running your business, Marty, when your constituents and your colleagues are running their businesses, right? You have those days where you're in flow, right? And you talk about the linemen. Linemen have those days where they're in flow, where the body parts are just moving themselves. They don't have to direct themselves. They're just going, right? Business owners have the same type thing where things are just clicking, right? Well, the hard part about flow, what was the zone or flow or being on fire, just those days where you're just super productive, is that stress and flow are mutually exclusive.
Okay, stress and flow are mutually exclusive. Okay.
Correct. They cannot exist together. So if you're in flow, you can't be stressed. And therefore, if you're stressed, you can't be in flow. Well, to create solutions, I'm not saying there's not a lot of them. We have to declutter and we have to de-stress. And that's when the answers are going to start to come. The answers aren't going to come. It's not like somebody's going to come with you with a booklet that says, here's all the answers to your problem. But what's going to happen is that little tiny slivers of it are going to be revealed. And then
Okay.
you just kind of keep exploring that. But if we are just weighed down by all the stress that the news and that social media and that all this stuff is putting on us, those solutions aren't going to come as readily as they would if we just kind of decompress.
Okay, so I want this to be quick and short so that my followers can get something and move on with their day. When we're talking meditation, we're not
Yep.
talking hum.
No.
What
No.
are we talking? So if one of these landscape professionals that this video is going to today, or a small business owner, what can they do this afternoon to meditate? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think it just involves 10 minutes, phones off, computers off, start with 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is very, very difficult for an entrepreneur. Very difficult.
Yes.
Because we understand the value of that 10 minutes. How much could I get done in 10 minutes? It seems wasteful at the time, right? Sit in a chair with no electronics, no stimuli whatsoever, and just see if you can be alone for 10 minutes. It starts there.
Okay.
Complete silence and just be alone, right? And then as you begin to enjoy that silence, most of these people that you work with are going to make it about 30 seconds before they start to go bonkers, right? I would like to see them stretch it to 10 minutes, right? And then at that point, you start to take a single point awareness. So you'll hear a lot about breathing, focus on your breathing, right? When you get good at it, you'll start, and as entrepreneurs and business owners, you get hyper aware on one thing. I'm just going to be aware of my breathing, right? And you can breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe. When you start to do it well, breathing is autonomous, right? We're breathing right now and we don't have to think about it. You'll start with a high awareness on your breathing, and then it'll just kind of fade, right? And then you'll be in full flow with no stimuli, right? You'll just be present, completely present. If you can make it 10 minutes thinking about your breathing, that's great. The point is to just have that single point of awareness where you're just on your breathing. I do a lot with golfers with their awareness on their feet or their walk or their posture. Just bring it to one thing so that your awareness isn't in all of those places, and that will help to de-stress and declutter them. But I'm not going to lie, 10 minutes will be difficult for a lot of
I get it.
Yeah.
I actually use the Headspace app and I
Yeah.
meditate. And when I first started doing that, it was incredibly difficult for me to sit still.
It is.
You know, 3 minutes seem like 3 hours.
Yep.
And you're so right, because most entrepreneurs have attention deficit disorder, squirrel.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
Shiny object. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And so, you know, hopefully everyone gets a little bit from this. I want to close with something that I thought, and I believe this, but we hadn't talked about this. When I went through 9/11, I went through the banking crisis with my small business in 2008, 2009. And I look back in both instances, and there were tremendous opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
To the opportunities that you think are going to be presented for those that can be present in the situation.
I mean, I think you'll start to see the creative small business owners figure out what exactly their customers need.
Yep.
Not want, what they need. And if you start to pay attention to the needs, your business will take off sooner than later.
Right.
Because right now we may be entering a time like in 08, 09 where the wants are kind of pushed on the back burner. It's going to be figuring out what your customer needs, and whether that's a Zoom meeting or whether that's, attention to their lawn or their landscaping or whatever it is.
They're home more now.
Yeah, right. They're home more and more, right? I mean, a great example of this is a lot of the craft breweries that are popped up, right? There's craft breweries all over the place. Well, if you take people out of restaurants and breweries, it's hard to move product, right? Well, some of these craft breweries have gone and mobilized, and now they've created adult ice cream trucks where their product is now coming to your neighborhood. And they've given you an app that says, hey, you know what? Our truck is in your area. Look for it.
Fascinating.
You're going to what the customers need. You're going to see a lot of small businesses tank because they don't get creative. They try to do business as usual.
And that's my concern. I mean, you can't, when you're negative and you're overwhelmed with all of this, you're not going to see what's possible. And that's my biggest concern for entrepreneurs right now.
Yeah. You have got to absolutely take this thing down to bare bones and simplify it and just focus on what the customer needs. And if you can handle needs, then you can grow. You can get back into that.
So let's recap. What I heard you say, mindset's very important. This is a challenge, but there's opportunities that present themselves. slow down,
Yep.
take some time to meditate, even if that sounds crazy and you've never done it before. And in the process of doing meditation, you probably can be more present in the moment and look for opportunities.
Yep, that's 100% correct. And I think once you get that meditation down, even if you make it 3 or 4 minutes and you find your brain bouncing to what's next, right? The important part is going to be catching yourself and then gently leading yourself back to where you were, instead of just kind of keep running down the path of what's next, what's next, what's next, if that makes sense.
Ryan, you're a gem. I cherish having you as a friend. I've so enjoyed getting to know you with my workout as a trustee at Wright State University. Go Raiders.
I appreciate it. Thanks,
Have a
Marty.
great day.
See you, bud. Bye.
Bye.